this video, we are going to learn Kingdom Animalia, which is the last kingdom that you need to learn in domain Eukarya. As you know about animals, we are eukaryotes, we are multicellular, and the feeding mode is heterotrophic because we can't produce our own food. And one special characteristic of animals is that we are motile during at least a part of our life cycle. We have the ability to move. And now you are going to learn the classification of animals based on certain criteria. First, let's look at body symmetry. Body symmetry, if there is no body symmetry, we use the term asymmetry. And this is shown by the organisms in the phylum Porifera, the sponges. What does it mean by no body symmetry? No matter how you cut this organism, I just can't get any mirror images, no similar planes. Let's look at radii symmetry. From the word radii, you can tell it consists of more than one similar planes. You can divide the body into mirror images through more than one plane. Over here, I can get similar half. If I cut them here, I can get another similar half. If it's over here, I can get similar half for this part. This is the meaning of symmetry, and if it's radii, that means it has more than one planes that are mirror images. Example of organisms is in the phylum Cnidaria, or another name Coelenterata, as well as Echinodermata during adult. The last one, we have bilateral symmetry. From the name itself, bi, you know that it will have two mirror images, right and left. So if you cut the organisms into this one plane, you will get the similar half, two mirror images. And this is what we mean by bilateral symmetry. Most of the advanced animals, they show bilateral symmetry. So we have about 6 phyla of Animalia showing bilateral symmetry. The next one, we will look at germ layers. Some organisms only consist of 2 germ layers, which are the ectoderm, the outer one, and endoderm, the inner one, as shown in this picture. We have ectoderm on the outside and endoderm on the inside. And the organisms that are diploblastic is in the phylum Cnidaria. More advanced animals are triploblastic, which means they will have 3 germ layers that are ectoderm, mesoderm, which is in the middle, and endoderm, the inner one. And let's look at this here. Only animals with 3 germ layers, we will talk about body cavities. What is it, a body cavity? Body cavity is a space in the body that houses the organs. Ialah satu ruang untuk letak semua organ. If and only if these animals are triploblastic, have 3 germ layers, then only we will relate it to body cavities. We start with the first one that lack a body cavity. It has 3 germ layers, but it does not have the body cavity, and this is the phylum Platyhelminthes. They are the flatworms. So they have 3 germ layers, but no space to put the organ. What does pseudocoelomate means? It means that it has a body cavity, but it is not completely lined with mesoderm. What does it mean by not completely lined with mesoderm? Let's look at coelomate, then you will be able to understand what is pseudocoelomate. Coelomate is a fluid-filled body cavity. It's completely lined with mesoderm. We learned it just now. Meso is the layer in the middle. So if completely lined by this mesoderm layer, that means this space here, the empty space here, it is all surrounded by the two layers of mesoderm. The outer part of the space as well as the inner part of the space is completely lined by mesoderm. That's the meaning of coelomate. So this body cavity is completely lined by the mesoderm on the inner as well as the outer layer of it. Now, let's look at pseudocoelomate. How does pseudocoelomate look like? We say it's not completely lined with mesoderm. So, you can see here, only on the outside of the cavity is lined with mesoderm. If it's completely lined, it's supposed to have another layer here. But this one, it doesn't have. Only one layer of mesoderm on the outside of the cavity. That's why this is what we call a pseudocoelomate. The organisms in the phylum Nematoda, the roundworm, they will have this kind of body cavity. Coelomate is usually in more advanced animals. So we have all these phyla that consist of coelom, a fully, completely lined by mesoderm body cavity. Now that you have learned all these terms, we can look at the evolution of Kingdom Animalia. We start with the first one, which is the most primitive animals, which means it's the least developed animals, and we have the sponges, phylum Porifera. This organism is asymmetry, like I mentioned earlier. It does not have any body symmetry, and it only consists of cells, not even tissues level. Only cell, which means this whole organism is made up of individual cells. And then we move on to the more advanced one, where it starts to have tissues, and that's the phylum Cnidaria or Coelenterata. For Cnidaria, it starts to have tissue. Like I said just now, it is diploblastic. It has two germ layers, a bit more advanced, that develop lagi banyak structure. And it is radii symmetry, still quite primitive. When the animals become more advanced, it starts to have three germ layers, as well as it has bilateral symmetry. Usually, animals that are more advanced will have bilateral symmetry. And now we have the Platyhelminthes, the flatworm. And like I said just now, once it has three germ layers, then we will talk about body cavity, where in this case, Platyhelminthes, the flatworm, it does not have a body cavity. It lacks a body cavity. It has three germ layers, but it does not have a body cavity, so we say acoelomate. And we move on to the more advanced worm, the roundworm in phylum Nematoda. It starts to have a body cavity, but a fake one. Why is it fake? Because it's not completely lined with mesoderm. And to be more advanced animals yang ada banyak features, so this is the most developed animals. They are coelomate, which means they have a body cavity that is completely lined by mesoderm. So we have the mollusca, Annelida. Annelida is the segmented worm. You can see on its body it has stripes, so that's the segmented worm. We have Arthropoda, Echinodermata, as well as Chordata. That's where we are, humans.